não, deixa ele ficar de boa. Não dá nem pra recortar o que tá todo paralhado.
Porra, não.
Vai ver se ela conseguir ultrapassar todo mundo, ela tá na contramão aqui pra longe.
Realmente, se desceu foi lá de cima, né? Não foi de baixo.
O cara tem puta contramão aqui. Bora ali fazer o carregamento ali do cascalho, né, cara?
Sim, aí eu dei valor.
Não tem prancha agora?
Ei,
Eu venho aqui só pra carregar prancha.
Depois 360. Gente, reporte a 1964 360 porque está bloqueando la ruta.
Gringo.
Só que tu fala que nós bloquear, tá carregando o pau, né? Eu vou saber que tu vaca pra baixo, como é que faz?
mas pelo menos ele tá combinando pra coisa de comer, né? Assim, um pau atrás, né?
Aí eu posso fazer a fogueira na minha.
Pelo menos você vai fazer fogueira com pau, outras pessoas e pode fazer fogueira.
Aí os caras descem buscando container, como é que vai ficar contando uma pedreira?
Ah, que eu achei que tá de perfuratriz.
Pelo amor.
O que a gente quer? O Zé Ruela que veio de carro aqui atrás aqui tá buzinando aqui, achando que vai resolver alguma coisa.
Tem alguém subindo aí já? Vai carregando o pedreiro?
Será que vai ter flash pra todo mundo aí, velho? O que tem de frente? Máquina, o que mais?
Ah, bobo, deixou o cascalho de lado. Só o pranchão, positivo.
Uma pranchinha aí, bicho. Uma pranchinha aí, bicho.
360 de casualidad tus neuronas no hacen sinapsis?
No, aparentemente no lo hace.
Esse 360 eu tô ligado, velho. Vem cortando geral desde lá de cima.
Oh my god.
Eu reportei ele e o outro cara que tava colocando aqui pra
Hubo
nós.
idiotas acá adelante que no saben.
Você vai, vamos.
Ele vem cortando todo mundo lá de cima lá, vem fechando, bateu em todo mundo, empurrando o cara lá pra fora.
Já tem que reportar esse cara aí.
360 bloqueio report.
1964.
Tava aqui travando.
360 aí.
E o 1964 também.
Vem cá, porque eu liberado pra nós fazer um café aí, foda-se.
Ah, tô quase abrindo a caixa de cozinha aqui, ué. Tá doido.
Vai pra mim nessa fila aqui,
Aqui é mais um, o 134 aqui vai tomar reforço também.
aí tá indo dar poupado no carro de novo lá.
Foi mal aí, Titã. Tava mexendo aqui no zap zap.
Tá travado embaixo ainda?
Anaconda, misericórdia.
Tá fluindo, mas só a saída, né? Ninguém tá deixando. Bota os caras que saem, os caras não dá conta de subir a rampa lá de cima.
Só subir a rampa ali, tem que ter a senha. Pronto, falou. Ô Fioso, ô Toneiro.
Renaultzinho tá subindo com o tratorzão pro filé aí, ó. Falou mal do francês aí, ó.
Eu tô voltando, desisto.
um ali, no caroço, ó. Esse canhão ali já ó. Treta.
60, ¿qué estás haciendo de
Ahí.
vuelta? La gran conciencia de tu hermana malparida.
Esse caminhão aí é da Michelin ou é da Gutinho? Decide, porra.
Ô, cães de guerra! E esses farol aí, rapaz, tá que nem disco voador. Quem tem farol é eles, hein? Você tá doido.
Seasons are changing and waves are crashing and stars are falling over us.
Olha o povo aí da Prime Logistics. Ah, e a empresa dos ADM, como eu falei, é sabida.
Hein? Você tá organizado lá na frente, companheiro?
Eita, mano.
Não entendi, mano. Você tá quantos da pedreira?
Ô povo, sabe qual é o problema disso aqui? É que ninguém dá prioridade pro outro subindo. É a garrafa. Eu tô subindo aqui, viu?
Bora subir, bora.
Eu subi a barranqueira.
Gabriel, você vai aparecer aqui do nada do... Internet caiu, mano. Botei o meu, botou em cima do meu, tá vendo aí? Não, tá carregando, tá carregando, tô parado. Cara, ele tá em cima do meu, tem um carro na frente aí. Não, vamos fazer o seguinte, você saiu, eu fico.
能跟 YY 一起玩吗？能像 YY 一起玩吗？
¿Pero qué pasa aquí? ¿Quién nos ha puesto las gafas? Hola.
mau giờ lại mà. Alo.
Get ready to turn left. Turn left. Get ready to turn right. Turn right. At the roundabout, take the first exit. Exit now. Get ready to turn right.
de pute.
Here we are, safe and sound.
Testing. 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 Testing.
Marche arrière, faire.
Testing.
Yep, man. Yep.
Testing. 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 Testing.
ready to roll.
Saludo Latam, saludo Latam.
Turn left. At the roundabout, take the second exit. Exit now. Get ready to turn left. Turn left. Get ready to turn right. Turn right. ready to turn left. Turn left.
后面的兄弟帮我推一下，帮我推一下，打勾勾了。
Aô, Fábio, fala comigo, Fábio, você tá doido? Aí você me fode, ô filha de uma égua.
Fica brabo não.
Ninguém chamou você na briga não, irmão. Fica na sua aí, ó. Ah, vai comprar um headset novo, você vem falar comigo, otário.
Go down, chien.
Ouais, nique ta mère, Baraki. De pute. C'est bien ça, l'arabe de merde.
Wallah, moi. Ils viennent, ils te volent tout, hein. Attention.
Arabe de mes couilles, ouais.
Ah, la Belgique de mon pénis.
Oh, on se calme.
Les rouges de merde. Arrêtez de vous enculer les autres déjà. Déjà, on parlera après.
Mais toi aussi t'es rouge, t'es marocain, t'es rouge.
Ah oui, je suis marocain. Vas-y, on bouge. Il y a les Belges. Moi, j'aime pas parler avec les Belges. Ils sont avares. Ah, les Belges, ouais. Les Belges. Ils savent rien foutre de leur vie.
Wow.
Et toi, l'arabe, à part voler, tu ferais quoi d'autre?
Ah bah oui, hein. Déjà que les Arabes, ils savent voler. Les Belges, ils savent quoi? Ils savent branler.
On fait nourrir tes enfants, bâtard de tes mots.
Ah bah oui, hein. T'inquiète. On est là. On est là. Ah, moi je suis pas marocain, tu vois, je suis d'origine américaine mais je connais le français.
T'es fatigué, ouais, surtout.
Ah oui, je suis fatigué. On est presque arrivé.
Surtout pas, ouais.
Ouais, on est presque arrivé. On est presque arrivé dans le fossé des Belges.
Margarita.
back. Concert back. The Kevin.
Try and squeeze
Come
through.
back, come back.
Try and squeeze it.
这他妈的是完全都不让了，谁都
You
不让。
blocking. Come back. Stop on, come back.
I think you can make it squeeze through.
Hello Abdulatif, how are you? You see? I did overtake you, Abdulatif. I am talking to Abdulatif, shut the fuck up. Chinatown.
You
减九。Idiot.
On va passer à 20 près du mot please.
514 147 reports for wrong way driving. Sorry.
Let's go.
Just send it.
Vamos.
If you've ever eaten a hamburger at a fast food restaurant, White Castle deserves at least some of the credit. White Castle is a fast food chain with a small footprint in the Midwest and Northeast. It's famous for small, cheap burgers and its appearance in the movie Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. But you might not know that White Castle is widely thought of as the first fast food hamburger chain in the United States. It also played a key role in making the hamburger synonymous with American cuisine.
An American classic, White Castle, sliders, doesn't get any better.
White Castle started in 1921 in Wichita, Kansas, decades before McDonald's or Burger King opened. By 1961, it says it was the first fast food hamburger chain to sell over 1 billion burgers in the US. But odds are, there isn't even a White Castle in your neighborhood.
1291.
As of
Back,
2019,
please.
White Castle has around 370 locations in 13 states, a practically unchanged store count for the last 20 years. Compared to big fast food chains, White Castle's footprint is tiny. So why is it that with a highly loyal customer base and a nearly 30-year head start on the competition, White Castle hasn't become a global fast food chain like McDonald's or Burger King? Why did the chain stay small? White Castle has remained a family-owned, privately held company since it started in 1921. Fry cook Walter Anderson started a food stand in 1916 that grew to 4 successful but small hamburger stands in Wichita, Kansas. As legend has it, one day while Anderson was still a short order cook in a local Wichita diner, he got frustrated that the meatballs he was cooking stuck to the grill, so he smashed one with his spatula. Customers loved the resulting thin patties, which were also faster to cook, meaning that he could sell more of them. In 1921, Anderson met insurance and real estate businessman Edgar Waldo Billy Ingram. The two partnered, and Ingram rebranded Anderson's business as White Castle. Almost 100 years later, Ingram's great-granddaughter is now running White Castle. Before White Castle, hamburgers had a negative reputation in the early 20th century. Famous exposés published in that era raised public suspicion of unsanitary practices in the ground beef industry. Ingram knew changing the public's mind about ground beef was integral to White Castle's success. That's why every aspect of the first White Castles were designed with cleanliness in mind, even down to the name. White signified purity and cleanliness, and castle represented strength and stability. And it worked. White Castle grew quickly, expanding throughout the Midwest in the 1920s. White Castle played a key role in making the hamburger an acceptable part of the American diet, which helped pave the way for other rivals. Before White Castle, many burgers sold at fairs and outside factories were just meatballs placed between slices of bread. The flat patties and buns made popular by White Castle set the stage for the modern burger. White Castle grew rapidly in the 1920s and even weathered the Great Depression in the 30s because its founders streamlined the business, which included buying out Anderson's half of the company and relocating its headquarters to its center in Columbus, Ohio. But when the U.S. entered World War II in 1941, White Castle suffered from food shortages and labor scarcity that hindered its growth. White Castle's profits fell significantly. In 1954, Burger King was founded. A year later, in 1955, the first McDonald's opened in Illinois. Through franchising, these companies grew to be national and then international brands in a matter of decades. A White Castle historian called McDonald's the only life and death threat to White Castle because its system was faster and extremely popular. For the 25 years after McDonald's
Number
emerged as a
353
White
is
Castle grew, but slowly.
go
Over
back,
time,
go
its
back, go
footprint
back, go
actually
back.
shrank, from having restaurants in 14 cities in 1930
Go
to
back,
30
go
cities
back.
in 1979. In the 1980s, despite being much smaller than rival national chains, White Castle reclaimed its position as a leading fast food hamburger chain, expanding to about 300 restaurants in new markets. The bulk of its restaurants have remained in the Midwest and Northeast. Its U.S. sales in fiscal year 2018 were $556.1
go a
million.
little.
For comparison, McDonald's U.S. revenue was nearly 14 times that, at about $7.7 billion. But that's exactly what White Castle's founder intended.
Quick.
White Castle didn't franchise or go public, two mechanisms that fueled the expansion of other fast food chains. Without pressure from shareholders or franchisees, White Castle has had more freedom to experiment than a corporation that has to show profits and growth every quarter. Founder Billy Ingram also held out on franchising because he wanted to keep complete control over every aspect of the business, right down to the type of porcelain the original White Castles were built with.
There are certainly other models out there that would allow you to grow faster, but you have to give up control and you have to give up the ownership of the customer and the ownership of the team member, and that's just not something that we have ever really been interested in doing. And so each generation, we're in the fourth generation now, has really, certainly studied all of the different models, and we still keep coming back to that this model has worked well for us for almost 100 years, and that we believe it's a good model for us to continue into the future.
But its traditional expansion strategy might be changing. White Castle is now showing signs that it's ready to expand beyond the Midwest. Starting in 2014, White Castle has set its sights west, moving away from its Midwestern stronghold. White Castle has had a strong presence in cities like Chicago and St. Louis. Now it's taking on Las Vegas and Scottsdale, Arizona. It has multiple stores in Las Vegas and opened one in Arizona in October 2019. The Las Vegas locations, the first of which opened in 2015, represent a shift for the company. After more than 90 years of refusing to franchise in the United States,
Salut
White
le
Castle
Belge!
its
Salut!
first licensee ever to open stores in Las Vegas. The licensee bought White Castle prime real estate on the Las Vegas Strip in the Casino Royale.
Alors, c'est les Marocains, le Maroc et l'Algérie.
And they reached out to us, and our standard response is always, no, we don't
C'est Milo
franchise,
de
we don't
Mahmoud.
license. They were so persuasive and so compelling, and we realized they shared a lot
Mange
of the
tes
same
morts,
values
Bilou.
in terms of being family-owned business. But when they told
Mange
us
tes
they
morts,
could
c'est quoi mange tes morts? Y'a pas mange tes morts, les morts ils sont dans la tête.
visible location, we
Oh
thought
my
as
God.
we changed from third generation to fourth generation,
Oh my God, tu vois? Et ils sont dans la
But
terre,
White
il
Castle
faut
says
rien
this
faire pour eux,
relationship
ils
is
sont
the
morts.
exception, not the rule.
Regarde le
The
gars.
company doesn't plan to use licensing as a model for growth in the future.
We have chosen to do all of our stores company, so we don't grow as fast as other brands. We're very purposeful about where we want to grow. And you won't see
Camera
us,
zero is
opening
amazing.
100 in 1 year, but you will see us being very, very thoughtful about
Amazing
where we
attach. Camera
These
zero.
expansions actually come as White Castle's overall footprint has grown smaller. From 2009 to 2018, it closed net 44 stores as it shutters less profitable restaurants. But its total revenue has stayed roughly flat over those 10 years, hovering between $538 million and $564 million. So the restaurants the company has kept open are more profitable.
we have definitely closed some locations as time has gone on. Some of the locations we had in the 1930s and 1940s just aren't as viable in terms of how many people.
Adieu le Belge, les deux Belges en fait. Lucie et la Belgique.
An expressway that was built.
Mais nique ta mère, va faire exploser Daesh.
So we've been
Amazing
able to
attack.
grow revenue and meet our targets.
Ça veut dire mange tes morts, fils de pute.
Reimagine the landscape a little bit.
In 2009, White Castle's 418 restaurants had
Madre mía,
average sales
niño,
per
la que
restaurant of
monta.
$1.3 million. That's an important indicator in the restaurant industry.
Vaya
Fast forward to
taco
fiscal
churra
year
en China.
2018, and thanks in part to its smaller footprint, menu innovation, and price increases, White Castle's sales per unit were up nearly 14%. White Castle says it's growing very intentionally and choosing new markets carefully. In the past, White Castle expanded by entering a city en masse, opening between 5 and 10 locations in a new city. In the 80s and 90s, White Castle expanded to 4 new markets at once. Philadelphia, Kansas City, Nashville, and Dayton, and they weren't successful. White Castle didn't adapt its operating model to fit the individual cities, and it poured too much money into setting up new stores and building the supply chain. White Castle realized that flooding a new market with lots of restaurants wasn't working. Opening lots of stores at once was expensive.
So we've been more selective and thought about the restaurant growth as, hey, let's find locations that really can be just really ultra successful in great locations, easy to find, and kind of, their own oasis in new markets especially.
Having lots of stores close together also led to another common problem: cannibalizing sales.
The big brands try to get in and dominate a market and go in and have the ability to get on media and have enough locations to support that media spend. And I think with White Castle, because it's such a unique brand and it is a destination because of the types of products and the way people use it, that they're less inclined to have to do that. Penetration in markets doesn't hurt, but I don't think it's critical for every brand, particularly if you're more of a destination.
White Castle wouldn't say which state it would expand to next, but they did share with CNBC that it's always considering new markets, even internationally. White Castle opened 2 restaurants in Shanghai in 2017 through a partnership with a Chinese private equity firm. It was White Castle's first entrance into China, a popular destination for American chains looking to expand.
Basically, the way they describe it is a really well-run private equity group in China approached them. They had a love for the brand, they had really good ideas, and White Castle said, why not? They had really nothing to lose. And it's a pretty good opportunity for the company if it works out.
White Castle's presence in Shanghai has grown to 4 stores as of October 2019. White Castle leadership says the stores have steadily grown in sales and exceeded expectations, but wouldn't give specifics. This isn't the first time White Castle has tried to expand internationally. In the 80s and 90s, White Castle tried and failed to open stores abroad. By 1989, White Castle had opened 6 restaurants in Japan. It also opened 6 more restaurants across Malaysia and Singapore to keep up with the but the expansion stopped, and the stores closed just a few years after opening due to low demand.
In looking at that failure, what we realized is we weren't strategic about it. That really we were opportunistic. So if someone came to us and said they were interested from a different country and it seemed like they had good resources, we said yes without really thoughtfully discerning whether we might be successful there or not.
One mistake White Castle made in its attempt to expand abroad was that it didn't take enough time to research local tastes and customize its menu. A menu that works in the US doesn't always work in international markets. With the Shanghai restaurants that opened in 2017, White Castle tailored its menu to local tastes. Customers can get a Peking duck slider made with duck breast slices and cucumber, or a mapo tofu beef
Bayou, como te cuele te voy a dejar tapar.
available in the US. CNBC went to one of White Castle's restaurants in Shanghai to see how the American chain was resonating with locals.
觉得还可以吧，但也没有说特别不一样。哦，但他们那个招牌还是蛮特别的，就是加了那个 cheese 的那个还不错。
我经常中午来这边，都是餐厅里面都是挤满了周边的人，就是白领学生群体，还有小孩很多。
稍微贵一点点，对，因为如果跟麦当劳比的话，它可能性价比会稍微低一点点，对。
It's too soon to say whether White Castle will catch on in China, but one thing is clear. In China, White Castle doesn't have the low-cost reputation that has helped it succeed in the States. In 1987, White Castle started selling some of its menu items in retail stores. At the time, this was unprecedented. It was one of the first restaurant brands ever to try it. Retail remains one big difference between White Castle and its competitors like McDonald's. Those chains don't sell their burgers in the freezer aisle. Retail sales make up about 20% of White Castle's total sales, and that number is growing. According to Euromonitor estimates, in 2018, the retail business had sales of $199 million. That's a 40% increase from 2013. Its rank in the frozen ready meals category is also on the rise. Plus, it's been huge for building brand awareness. The company says by offering its products in grocery stores across the US, Canada, and military bases, White Castle has become a national, not just regional brand. Outside of the retail business, White Castle has also used unique marketing and branding strategies to spread its name across the country. It is, after all, the restaurant that agreed to be featured as a destination for hungry stoners in the 2004 classic, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. While some brands might have avoided association with a movie about stoners and marijuana, White Castle embraced the film. It helped White Castle connect to a new generation of customers. And the company told CNBC that sales hit an all-time record the week after the movie was released. White Castle continues to embrace this image as a late-night stop.
We made a conscious decision to be open 24 hours and be there for all of our customers, morning, noon, or night. So sometimes that's when someone's just ended work on a shift. Sometimes it's after a night out with friends. And
let's go.
Its cameo in Harold and Kumar is just one example of its eccentric marketing strategy. White Castle has tried selling wine pairings with its sliders and offers table service dinners for Valentine's Day. It was the first fast food chain to sell the Impossible Burger and worked with Wu-Tang Clan to produce a series about the hip-hop group eating the vegan sliders in space.
You find your niche from a marketing and branding perspective, and then you go with it strong. It's fun and different and kind of kitschy and not taking themselves too seriously.
The marketing and retail strategies seem to have worked. White Castle is at the top of the list in the burger cult status, which measures devotion to a brand. It beats out McDonald's, In-N-Out, and Burger King in that category, which shows that its fans are highly loyal to the point of fanaticism. In 2014, Time magazine deemed the 2x2-inch White Castle slider the most influential burger of all time. White Castle may rank high in hamburger loyalty, but it falls short in customer service ratings, ranking behind the big burger brands. Family-owned businesses have a high rate of failure, with about 70% of family-owned businesses failing or being sold before the second generation takes over. Just 10% make it to third-generation leadership. That is one of the reasons why White Castle, now entering its fourth generation of leadership, is so unique. White Castle's current CEO, Lisa Ingram, became the president of White Castle in 2013 and took over as CEO in 2016 after her father stepped down. Ingram says her legacy at White Castle will be innovation and cultural change.
How do we become a more nimble organization? How do we experiment more? How do we have fun more? How do we embrace, who we are more? And how do we do it in a way that's inclusive and allows all of our team members to feel like they're a part of something really fun and really big?
Ingram represents a shift for White Castle. She has an MBA in operations from The Ohio State University and worked in the tech industry at large companies.
¿Algún español? ¿O quien habla español?
Hiring 3 executives from outside of White Castle to join her leadership team. Ingram's experience working for other businesses made her realize that leaders with fresh eyes.
That's always a real
challenge
with family businesses, because family businesses can be very insular. And you can listen to a lot of people that have been around for a long time. And they offer great insight.
¿Subí o bajar?
Never lose that. One of the things that I have having worked outside in other industries and in other companies, I felt like we needed to have some outside voices. And so 3 of my executive team I hired from the outside.
Yo estoy aquí ya a la altura del puerto y es demasiado la que hay por más.
Brought a very different perspective, which is fabulous.
White Castle sales at U.S. restaurants are up about 8% since Ingram was appointed to company president in 2013. She took over as CEO in 2016.
Lo que debería es pasar 3 de un lado y después del otro y ya está.
Represents leadership, someone who went out and did things outside of the restaurant industry. Got executive leadership, training, and education.
White Castle doesn't share much financial
information. Vale, tomo nota.
Being a best place to work.
No, ya estoy viendo, vamos. Este es mi tercer día por el juego y por ahora soy un poco no. Pero vamos, ya estoy bien. Vale, ok, gracias por el consejo.
Nada, buena ruta, compañero.
Igualmente, buena ruta.
Attention homeowner, we
are
calling
atasco.
you from the investigation team of IRS. I'm calling in reference to your student loan. You will be taken under custody.
Sí, la de Islandia ya la he visto. Ya fue la primera, vamos.
The grand prize winnings of $3.5 million US.
We all get robocalls. They're relentless, annoying, they're often illegal. They're costing consumers millions. And last month, Americans received a record-breaking 5.7 billion of them.
If they are making billions of calls and getting thousands of people to answer to trickle down to dozens of victims every day, it's an absolute epidemic. There's millions and millions of dollars being lost.
To date, the FTC has filed 145 cases alleging telemarketing violations.
The problem is so big that the government and all 4 major U.S. carriers are doing something about it. And it's even created a new market for hundreds of smaller companies that focus solely on stopping the scams. Why has there been such an uptick in robocalls? And what's being done to protect us now and into the future?
Robocalls can really be any kind of pre-recorded message. It'll usually come from an unknown number. There are good robocalls, things like schools and police and fire, right? We gotta let those through. Everybody wants those calls. And then there's those middle calls that are things like collections agencies, like debt collectors, legal telemarketers.
According to the UMail Robocall Index, October saw 2,115 robocalls every second, 30 million more each day than in September, totaling 49 billion so far this year. A majority were legal robocalls. Think alerts, payment reminders, and legitimate telemarketers. But 47% were scams. So how are scammers actually making these illegal calls?
You buy a list of leads, you plug it into this computer, you spin up a call center. The risk of getting caught is almost zero.
Go, mate!
The reward is millions and millions of dollars every single year.
And these calls appear in ever more creative ways. In October, the most popular scams involved health, interest rates, student loans, Social Security, and warranties.
You'll receive a free 5-day, 4-night magical Orlando getaway.
Either a too good to be true scenario or a fear-based scenario. So yes, people's fears would be something wrong with their existing bank account. Another fear would be involved in a federal agency, so the IRS type of scam.
This call is to inform you that IRS is filing lawsuit against you.
It might be a grandchild that's calling you up and saying that they are trapped overseas and they lost their wallet. They call it the grandparent scam.
There's something called the Jamaican lottery scam where they
152.
tell the consumer
Go,
that they've
mate!
won, $500,000 or $1 million in a lottery, but they just need to pay a processing fee.
A new robocall scam comes in Chinese, and they are actually targeting Asian Americans.
They try to basically dupe them into paying some type of money for a purported immigration failure or paperwork failure.
There are number neighbor scams, which trick you into answering by making it appear the caller shares the first 6 digits of your number. Faking numbers like this is called spoofing.
Spoofing numbers is incredibly easy. So the caller ID, you could set it to be anything you want. There is no real phone number anymore.
They can basically spoof any phone number. So they can spoof the IRS's phone number, they can spoof the Social Security Administration's phone number, a business's phone number.
Or they're calling from Microsoft to go and say that your computer has a virus. Like they will try every trick in the book to get you to be scared and to give them money in order to fix the problem.
But how do scammers get your phone?
Every time that you sign up for a free service, whether it is the phone company, an app, or maybe you use your phone number in a retail store to get coupons or build up a point system, we're giving out that information. And it's up to us as consumers to say, what are you doing with that information? Do you sell it to a third party?
Or oftentimes, they're dialing random numbers until someone picks up.
There's a whole criminal enterprise around that creates lists of numbers that are active. So if you've ever gotten a call from an unknown number, you pick it up and there's nobody there, that could be one of these services that are checking to see if your phone is active and being used. On average, every single person in the United States gets 1.3 robocalls every single day.
With advances in phone technology, so too came the rise of robocalling.
Roughly around the 80s, the telephone system changed from analog to digital. And now anybody can kind of go and plug into the phone system. So this has been great because we get wireless phones, we get low-cost calling, we have Skype, and we have WhatsApp. But the negative side to that, like the dark side to that, is that scammers could go and jump on you, partner up with a shady phone company, and start blasting out millions and millions of calls with pre-recorded messages.
In 2018, the FCC got more than 230,000 complaints about unwanted calls. up 25% from 2017, making it by far the largest single complaint it receives. When it comes to who falls for scammers and isn't interested in defendant visits were down last year when people aged 18 to 24 were actually looking at less susceptible to as people over age 65, although the average older consumer costs less than 4 times the money. And that's the simple answer to why robocalls are on the rise. Criminals are making millions. In one famous case, a Florida man made 96 million spoofed calls in just 3 months in 2016, trying to sell victims vacations from well-known travel companies.
I'm not the kingpin of robocalling that is alleged.
The FCC was able to identify Mr. Abramovich. They imposed a $120 million fine.
There's been a recent flurry of success in catching and prosecuting robocallers. After Abramovich's record-setting fine last year, the FCC fined another robocaller $82 million and proposed another fine of $37 million. And the Department of Justice arrested 24 people who were helping one India-based call center defraud thousands of U.S. residents out of hundreds of millions of dollars. The callers were sentenced with up to 20 years in jail. Text message scams were also punished, a precedent set by a $10 million settlement in 2009 where the company had set 60,000 unsolicited applicants on the
The customer doesn't trust the phone anymore. There's a complete lack of trust in the phone system, and we have to get that back.
The good news is, detection is now readily available.
We might see a new number that we've never seen before, all of a sudden start pumping out tons and tons of calls. And so while you can go and try and hide your tracks, you can't hide those patterns.
All 4 major U.S. cell carriers now offer some form of detection and blocking.
We were the first to implement a network-based scam detection, and we actually identify if a call is a scam, and then we actually change the caller ID. So instead of the person's name, you see the word scam likely. And we didn't make people download an app or take any action.
And that scam likely label has made a lot of money.
We've seen t-shirts printed with it. There's a scam likely beer that's been made.
T-Mobile has a more stringent set of filters available for $3.99 a month, and another free option that stops scam calls from coming in at all.
And since we've started in March of 2017, we've flagged over 15 billion calls as scam.
Verizon's program is opt-in instead of automatic. Customers download a free call filter app, which sends known scam calls straight to voicemail, and a premium version that's available for $2.99.
What we're doing beyond that is making sure that we're working with federal lawmakers, the FCC, and other carriers and partners to make sure that we start blocking these at the network level itself, so the calls won't even reach you.
At Sprint, customers also opt in, enrolling in free basic spam detection or $2.99 a month premium caller ID. AT&T recently added fraud blocking and suspected spam alerts to millions of lines, making it automatic for new customers. And then there's a growing number of apps and third-party services focused entirely on solving this problem.
Between 2016 and 2018, we've seen a growth in smartphone apps alone from about 85 in 2016 to north of 500 in 2018.
Nomo Robo is one popular app. It's free for landline protection and $1.99 a month for mobile.
If you get your phone service from your cable company or Vonage or Uma or any kind of those, our
bueno, ya vamos para arriba.
And we're analyzing millions and millions of calls every single month. Every day we add 1,500 new numbers to our blacklist. Our blacklist is over 2 million known robocallers.
Another popular service is Union, a voicemail management service that also blocks robocalls. And companies like First Orion, Kaya, and TNS Call Guardian partner with carriers to offer blocking and labeling. And antivirus company Norton LifeLock recently finished an education campaign teaching 17,000 law enforcement about how to spot the most common scams and help those who call in complaints. There's also a new popular homegrown approach, Scam the Scammers.
Sir, you said you were trying to make a payment?
I'm just a little shook up. I actually had like an alien account this morning.
This tactic takes up valuable time that scammers may have used to make other phone calls. You can pay an app called RoboKiller to do this for you. For $2.99 a month, its answer bots will drive the scammers nuts for many of the almost 1.3 million scam call numbers on its list. And there's one more big player in the robocall prevention space, the U.S. government. Robocalls to non-consenting individuals were outlawed by the Telephone Consumer Protection Act in 1991. Violators are charged between $500 and $1,500 per legal call. In one huge class action verdict, the scammers are paying $925 million in damages. Another recent settlement cost the robocaller $76.
Hombre, un andaluz.
Each class member will get approximately $250 per call. Many class members receive tens
Bueno, una empresa
hundreds
andaluza.
of calls, which is quite a large recovery for telephone calls.
Spoofing has been illegal since 2009, when the FCC passed the Truth in Caller ID Act. And this year, Congress passed 2 more laws.
Trace Act passed out of the Senate by a vote of 97 to 1. The Stop and Bad Robocalls Act passed out of the House by a vote of 409.
Both bills require carrier participation in a program called Shake and Stir, which verifies the calling number and helps trace the origin of the call, although it won't determine whether the call is legal or a scam. Rupee also helps start a new traceback program in hopes of catching more scammers.
There are about 30 different companies participating in the effort. They will identify suspicious or illegal traffic, and they will select a small sampling of these calls and trace these calls back.
In September, California passed a new stringent Consumer Call Protection Act of 2019, shifting the burden of compliance to service providers instead of the callers themselves. And in August, all 50 state attorney generals and 12 voice providers signed on to 8 new anti-robocall concerns.
The government can't do it alone. We must have our friends in the private industry to step up to the plate and to block these illegal robocalls.
But for now, the number of calls is going to grow.
We are dealing with a very crafty adversary, and as mitigation efforts improve, they will change their tactics almost certainly.
So what can we as consumers do?
Don't answer numbers that you don't recognize, right? Don't believe what the caller is saying. And whatever you do not pay for anything over the phone.
And register your number on the Federal Trade Commission's official Do Not Call registry. By signing up, you're protected from certain legal forms of robocalls, and it's enforced.
Ready to turn left.
In 2017, for example, Dish Network was fined $280 million for making calls to people on the list.
There are a large universe of legitimate telemarketers that honor that list and follow that list.
And eventually, experts agree that we will see a radical decrease in robocalls.
People are listening. It is a bipartisan issue. Everyone is annoyed by this, and legislation is being enacted.
If we all do it well, scammers will give up. It will not be profitable for them. They will stop.
We're making it more difficult for the robocallers to get their message out. So what are they going to do? Make more calls. In the short term, it's actually going to get worse. But the long term, now that we've proven that robocall blocking is a thing, it works, it's reliable, I think this is just going to become a basic feature of every phone and every phone carrier. And hopefully in a couple of years, we're going to forget about this problem.
This is the final attempt to reach you. Press 1 now.
In 2016, Chipotle reported that its profits had fallen 95% after a series of food safety issues that sickened hundreds of people and sent its stock price plunging.
E. coli outbreak that caused Chipotle restaurants to shut down.
Investors aren't the only ones steering clear of Chipotle.
I mean, it just keeps happening to Chipotle and nobody else. Even if it's not associated with their food this time, it's happened again. They've had to close a store because customers get sick.
It had lost customers' trust and Wall Street's adoration. Its future was uncertain. Would Chipotle ever be able to return to its high-growth days? But the Mexican-style food chain has come back from the brink with the help of a new CEO. Consumers are once again returning to the place that popularized burritos the size of a baby and helped the avocado become one of America's favorite fruits. Analysts say that its food safety woes are now firmly in the past, and its stock hit a new record in July 2019 and has kept climbing, peaking at $857.90 on September 9th. Now, there's just one question for the chain. How can it keep soaring and avoid another fall? Chipotle was never supposed to take off. Its founder, Steve Ells, only started the restaurant to make some quick cash to pay for his real passion project, launching his very own fine dining restaurant. Els got the idea for Chipotle from his time in San Francisco, where he was working as a line cook for celebrity chef Jeremiah Tower. The Mission District in the California city is known for its taquerias. That's also where the Mission Burrito was invented. The burrito is oversized, stuffed with rice and other ingredients, and wrapped in foil. Sound familiar? With a loan from his dad, Els moved to Colorado and opened the first Chipotle Mexican grill near the University of Denver campus in 1993.
I think one of the most amazing things about Chipotle is that the stores today don't look that different from the original location by the University of Denver. Really, the structure is very much the same. You know, customized assembly line process, very simple but aesthetically pleasing locations.
Chipotle's now quintessential minimalist layout wasn't a deliberate design decision. It came from a need to be cheap. In that very first Chipotle, the table bases were pipes, and the counter where you paid was made from barn metal. Els kept the menu and operations simple because Chipotle was still his backup plan. Chipotle became profitable within a few months, and Els was able to quickly repay his father's loan. A year and a half after opening his first restaurant, Els opened a second, then a third in 1996.
In the early days, your options for Mexican food were so limited. So to see this, assembly line burrito company come up and out of nowhere, it was amazing how quickly word spread among the Denver market and how quickly this company really rose to prominence, at least in Denver during the mid-90s.
He kept going with additional funding from his dad and small business loans. Then he got a little help from a name you might recognize, McDonald's. Under the leadership of longtime CEO Mike Quinlan, the fast food giant started investing in Chipotle in February 1998. 3 years later, it was Chipotle's majority stakeholder. The investment helped McDonald's branch out of burgers and diversify its business. It also helped the fast food chain compete directly with a rival on the rise, Taco Bell. The money from McDonald's helped Chipotle expand across the United States. Most restaurant chains, including McDonald's, turned to franchising for quick and widespread growth, but Chipotle didn't want to. Handing over the operations of its restaurants would have also meant handing over some of its profits. Ultimately, pressure from McDonald's led Chipotle to franchise a few restaurants to several McDonald's franchisees at the end of 2002. In January 2006, the burrito maker went public. Chipotle's IPO gave McDonald's the opportunity to refocus on its core brand. At the time, McDonald's was in the middle of a turnaround after years of turbulence that started soon after it initially invested in Chipotle. After the IPO, McDonald's started selling off its 91% stake in Chipotle. By the end of 2006, it no longer owned a piece of Chipotle. Just 8 months after McDonald's sold its stake in Chipotle, the burrito chain killed the franchise model and took back control of all restaurants. The investment had paid off for McDonald's. Investors loved Chipotle, and the economy was booming. By 2007, its annual sales were more than $1 billion. Then the recession hit. Like most restaurants, Chipotle felt it. In 2009, it held the second largest market share, 11%, of the entire Latin American limited service restaurant industry, according to Euromonitor. Yet, the company had its slowest year ever of same-store sales growth that year, and its stock tumbled. In 2009, Chipotle decided that it needed a change. Besides building the company, Els didn't have any business experience. The company promoted Monty Moran, its chief operating officer, to serve as co-CEO alongside Els.
Well, obviously Steve was the visionary for Chipotle and had a very much a culinary background, but I think Monty brought more of a traditional restaurant background to the equation, and sometimes with the right mix of personalities, you can make a co-CEO model work.
Chipotle started thinking up other restaurant concepts with a similar setup. It created Shop House, an Asian-inspired chain. Soon after followed Pizzeria Locale and Tasty Man. If those names
I don't know what all this means, but are we gonna go or what, boys?
Chipotle has since abandoned them after they built them.
Alright.
It came down to just competition and lack of simplicity and lack of brand message.
Did anyone see the lad from Iraga with a fucking dozer?
Chipotle didn't abandon its core business. Between 2009 and 2015, the company more than doubled its global total store count. New stores meant new customers. Unlike Taco Bell or McDonald's, Chipotle wasn't relying on value meals or limited time offers.
Go ahead on, boys.
Instead,
We're waiting.
Chipotle
We're
rolled out a
waiting.
series
We're
of
waiting on
ads
our guys.
in
Go ahead.
2012
Go ahead on.
2013 about how it sources ingredients from sustainable farms. An initiative it started in 2000.
China SG. Let YW go, for fuck's sake, man.
$758.61 a share in August 2015, but it would be years before it soared that high again. In October 2015,
you got it, YW. Keep going, bud.
Officials linked Chipotle to an E. coli outbreak that sickened people across 11 states. It was not Chipotle's first brush with foodborne illness. Earlier in 2015,
you can
had already been linked
you
to
can do it.
and salmonella incidents, but it caught the public's attention. 22 customers were hospitalized. The Centers for Disease Control
all the way up there and down there, and
come
I
on,
lost my fuel.
In December,
you can do it. You can do it. Go on. You can do it.
At least 80 people had symptoms consistent with norovirus.
China SC. You can do it. You can do it.
Chipotle reopened a store after a food poisoning incident. It had to close another one. Chipotle co-CEO
I am not racist. You can do it.
on the Today Show, but that wasn't enough.
Keep
Sales
going.
at
Keep
Chipotle
going. Go, go, go,
locations
go, go,
opened
go,
each
go.
year plunged. So did its stock price. For the next few years, Chipotle shares were worth only a little more.
3:30 in the morning, isn't it a lovely
high.
morning?
But, more importantly, the incidents damaged Chipotle's reputation with customers. The company had long
You can do it, peeps! Come on, keep going, keep going!
Antibiotics. Its produce was locally grown and organic. Chipotle called this policy food with integrity. It had been part of its advertising and marketing for years. Chipotle sprung into action. It changed its food safety protocols. It altered its
You can do it. Go. You can do it.
Driver on by like you're late for mass.
Burritos. Still, despite its best efforts, revenue for 2016 declined by 13%. Same-store sales plunged by 20%. Amid Chipotle's troubles, Pershing Square Capital Management, a hedge fund managed by investor Bill Ackman, took a 9.9% stake in the company in September 2016.
You can do it. Yeah, Seamus is here. Go. 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 Green light go. Green light go. Go, 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 go.
Ultimately, in December 2016, Ackman was able to make a deal with Chipotle management to name 2 directors to the board. Chipotle handpicked an additional 2 independent directors. Just 2
You
days
can do
before
it. You can do it.
stepped down as
Go.
president and left the board. Chipotle's founder was now the only one steering the ship.
He was too much at the center of everything, whether or not it was strategic positioning, operational decisions, media, and investor relations. He was trying to cover it all instead of really bringing in delegated expert talent.
Let's
go.
go.
Start to have it a little bit later life stages of the business. That's a problem we've seen a lot with Travis Kalanick or maybe.
All right, who the hell's clogging the toilet up here?
An ad campaign and rolled out 2 menu additions, chorizo and queso. It was hoping to find its footing again when there was another food safety issue. In July 2017, a Sterling, Virginia location...
Well, we clearly should have gone first because this is ridiculous.
In November 2017, nearly a year after Els became the chain's sole chief executive, he stepped down, and Chipotle started looking for its next CEO.
In this case, at least the board took their time to try to find somebody.
Enter Brian Niccol. In March 2018, before Chipotle, Niccol was chief executive of a rival Mexican food chain, Taco Bell. At Taco Bell, he introduced popular limited-time offers like nacho fries, as well as Taco Bell breakfast. Niccol also pushed Taco Bell into the digital age.
You know, as this company matures, it was always going to look a lot more like a traditional quick service restaurant.
I just tell you one thing, don't
and
fuck with the Irish.
Somebody with that background like Brian, I think, certainly helped to breathe new life.
Especially in a fucking shitey fucking Scania. Guanda Volvo!
The inverse is not necessarily true. Fast casual chains like Chipotle appeal to more health-conscious consumers who have a little extra cash to burn. The fast casual segment of the restaurant industry is growing the fastest. On the other hand, fast food chains such as McDonald's are largely using price hikes to boost sales. And Chipotle was now betting that Niccol could do the same for them. Nichols' primary mission was to bring back customers who left during the foodborne illness scares. So far, Nichols has taken some tried-and-true methods from his Taco Bell playbook to make that happen. He even moved Chipotle's headquarters from chilly Denver to sunny Southern California, right in the backyard of Taco Bell's own HQ. Chipotle has also recruited several executives with Taco Bell experience, like its chief marketing officer and the head of its digital marketing.
Brian's one of the most talented people I've ever worked with. We have a good rapport. We were friends, even outside of work. And so having the chance to work with him again was a great opportunity, and being on a great brand like Chipotle, and that opportunity just was hard to pass up.
But Chipotle is still a different company from Taco Bell.
I think people associate Taco Bell and Chipotle as they're both Mexican, but that's a lot of where the similarities end. I think Chipotle is much more of a food brand. Taco Bell was much more entertaining. We had to come up with something every 4 to 6 weeks, and Chipotle isn't that way.
Nichols has also leaned into the food delivery boom.
Turn right.
Chipotle struck a deal with third-party delivery service DoorDash.
We're lucky at Chipotle. We have a very young consumer base, and that is frankly how they want to consume food. What we've been surprised with on delivery is how many new customers have really come to Chipotle just for delivery.
And in March 2019, the burrito chain launched a loyalty program. For every $125 customers spend, they earn a free entree. Within 4 months, it grew to 5 million members. The loyalty program also drives customers to Chipotle's app. That lets the company learn more about them and cater its strategy to what its patrons want. Nichols has also tried to improve the experience for digital customers. Stores have been adding second assembly lines for digital orders, online order pickup shelves, and Chipotlane drive-thrus for digital orders. These additions are meant to bring Chipotle's trademark efficiency to off-premise dining. These investments have helped to grow Chipotle's digital sales. In its second quarter of 2019, digital sales nearly doubled. They made up 18% of total sales in the quarter. Under Nichols, Chipotle has also been testing new food items to expand its limited menu. Fast food chains like Taco Bell regularly roll out new limited-time items to drive traffic. As chief marketing officer and then chief executive of Taco Bell, Nichols regularly oversaw the creation of new menu items. But Chipotle is different. Before Nichols, it rarely made additions to its menu. Customers could return and order their usual without thinking twice. But now, Chipotle wants you to think about changing up your order.
We're not going to be launching, 5 products a year, 6 products a year, but we will sprinkle things in to bring news, to bring interest, and to just kind of freshen up things. But we have no intention of really expanding our menu in any big way.
The chain launched Carne Asada, another steak protein option, in September 2019 for a limited time. It's the chain's first new protein in 3 years. It also happens to cost 50 cents more than steak, its most expensive protein. And it's working on a replacement for its queso, which launched in 2017 to tepid reviews. Even after tweaking the recipe, it still wasn't a hit. The chain began testing a queso blanco in several markets in July. It's expected to launch the cheese dip nationwide in 2020. Nichols' initiatives are paying off for Chipotle. Despite a foodborne illness incident in Ohio in 2018 that sickened hundreds, the company finished the year up 49%, making it one of 2018's top-performing stock. Chipotle's market share in the Latin American limited service restaurant industry also grew to 22.4% in 2018, according to Euromonitor. It remained in second place, but it managed to steal share from other chains and independently owned restaurants. Redemption came in July 2019 when the stock hit an all-time high, surpassing the record it set way back in 2015. The stock went on to climb even higher, but as October 2019 started, shares were up a whopping 88% over the past 10 months. But so much love from investors puts even more pressure on Chipotle. With a single share of Chipotle worth more than $800, the company has to answer one question: where does its stock go from here? Compared to the stocks of other restaurant companies like McDonald's, Starbucks, and Yum Brands, shares of Chipotle are pricey. In October 2019, Chipotle had a forward price-to-earnings ratio of 46. Starbucks had the next highest price-to-earnings ratio of 27. Chipotle has nearly 2,500 locations in the U.S. It thinks it can add even more. The company also has a limited international footprint, with only 39 stores open outside of the U.S. Nichol told analysts on Chipotle's third quarter conference call that the company could accelerate expansion in Canada if that business improves. Outside of North America, however, expansion will likely be slower. Nichol said that Chipotle is in the earlier innings in Europe. As for stores that already exist, its focus is on digital and delivery to drive sales growth. According to Deloitte, customers tend to spend 20% more on online orders. Now all Chipotle has to do is live up to investors' high expectations.
Turn right.
The trade war between the United States and China has most big tech companies really worried about whether tariffs could cut into their bottom lines. But one company was able to thread the needle between a volatile American president and the world's biggest consumer market. More than any other tech leader, Apple's CEO Tim Cook has spent a lot of time charming the Trump administration. And it seems to be paying off. President Donald Trump and Cook's relationship really started after Trump's election win in 2016.
Donald Trump took a few shots at Apple during the campaign, but as soon as he was elected, he told the New York Times in an interview, one of the people who called to congratulate him was Tim Cook.
This is Kif Lesway.
Tim Cook's office reaching out to Donald Trump, saying congrats on being the president, I hope we can work together kind of stuff. That's how the relationship started.
So after Trump's win, he called the CEOs of several tech companies to meet at Trump Tower. Apple CEO Tim Cook was one of them.
President Trump pulled together a lot of business leaders with a surprising number of high-tech leaders there.
This is Jeff Sonnenfeld. He's the Senior Associate Dean for Leadership Studies at Yale University's School of Management.
They all came. He wasn't yet president. He was president-elect. Most didn't know him. Very few supported him. And that's true of the U.S. business community in general, not just Silicon Valley types. They still came, which was interesting. Tim Cook used that as an opportunity to start to forge a relationship.
In a message to Apple employees, Cook explained why he showed up to talk to Trump despite supporting Hillary Clinton. According to TechCrunch, Cook wrote, he never found being on the sideline a successful place to be, and the way that you influence these issues is to be in the arena. Since the meeting, Cook continued to cultivate close ties with Trump and his family. The Apple CEO met with Trump over dinner at his New Jersey golf course twice since 2017. He's attended state dinners hosted by the president, and he has a good relationship with Ivanka and Melania, according to White House officials.
President Trump likes to break bread with people, and he relaxes over food, and other people relax over food. So it's food in the golf course in those kind of scenes that are ways that you get away from wearing the formal uniforms and get off the pillars of office.
In February 2019, Cook joined the American Workforce Policy Advisory Board, a group dedicated to getting the unemployed into the workforce. And since 2017, Cook has been a part of the White House Office of American Innovation, a group focused on improving quality of life and spurring